I'm correct. And that's what pisses you off, which is so strange. Hassan reminds me of a little bitch that always want to be right. Wouldn't you rather always be right or want to be right and find the truth than to just admit that you're wrong all the time like you are currently? Like, this is what's so shocking to me is that people will just be like, oh, this guy, he's always trying to be on the right side of history. It's like, well, don't you? Are you describing the process of fucking being a curious, an intellectually curious person who has a moral compass as a negative? What the fuck? Oh, fuck you. I hate that you're right all the time. You want to be right all the time. It pisses me off. It's like, okay, do you want to be wrong all the time? Why do you want to be wrong all the time?
She's the executive director of the World Food Program, and she talked about what is happening right now in terms of the actual administration of aid and what it could be. And she knows that because she's done it before. Watch.
When we had full access, we had 400 distribution sites. We were getting in 600 trucks a day. So the capability that we have is unmatched by any other organization or any other foundation. And we know where our food goes because we have a system on the ground that is tested and works. We need full sustained access. We need at scale so we can set up the kinds of aid stations that can actually help people and do it where it's not a panic situation.
It's truly shocking to me that Cindy McCain genuinely is like the only good McCain, both alive and dead. And she is so different. She is so on the opposite moral playing field as opposed to the living, breathing Meghan McCain and also the very much dead John McCain. I don't even understand how this can happen. Like, are they related? What do you mean? That's John McCain's wife. I don't understand how you could be married to John McCain and also be the executive director of the World Food Program and have been one of the most morally consistent voices on one of the most morally clear voices on the widow, not wife. But like, it doesn't make sense. Opposites attract. Bro, she had to pick from a dude born 80 years ago. She did her best. Nothing makes sense. It's like if Melania was like a socialist, okay? This is like if Melania Trump came out as like a massive advocate for like socialism and was like actively hands-on combating capital owners on the streets or some shit. Because like she's there, you know what I mean? She's in and out of Gaza. She is actively feeding the children of Gaza. It's like if Melania Trump was like a Titoist, you know? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, Melania is a Yugoslav sleeper cell. Tito is Yugoslavia. She will restore it to its former glory. Just you fucking wait.
Cindy's right. Let me just say from the outset, Hamas is responsible for what happened in Gaza. They don't negotiate in good faith. They are a terrorist organization.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit. Stop making me hard. You're hard. That's weird. A helping hand is a helping hand no matter how dirty. Sometimes people just walk the walk, dude. No, I just don't understand how she was with John McCain, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like fucking Ava Braun, like working hands-on in like releasing Jews from concentration camps. You know what I mean? Like that's the weird the weird juxtaposition of like what Cindy McCain is doing versus what John McCain had done and what he advocated for. Anyway, god damn it, dude. Every time I see one of these fucking absolute morons, these assholes, it's just like really ruins my day. First of all, we must say Hamas, 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 Hamas. Guys, have I talked about Hamas? Excellent. Hamas.
Having said that,
oh my God, someone said, "Welcome to the world of straight women." Oh, that's so funny. That's like that meme. It's like girl who's like saying, "Hey, have you read this latest feminist literature?" And then the boyfriend is right next to her. It's like the most racist man alive t-shirt. That's Cindy McCain and John McCain. That's literally what that meme is. Yeah, Cindy, I can fix him, McCain. A real woke gap relationship. Yeah. Yeah.
Israel needs to be doing far more than they're doing to allow food to come in or to provide it themselves. And I mean, having spent much of the last 3 years in the Muslim world, you ought to see how the U.S. is being portrayed there for standing by and being silent, at least on this. Now, Hamas, they are a terrorist organization. I don't speak for them, but Israel needs to do more, and America needs to do more to force them to allow food.
Bro, these guys talk about Israel like there's a fucking gun pointed right at them off camera, just off camera. It's crazy. Like they're like, oh well, Israel needs to do more, but also Hamas, Hamas.
It's heartbreaking to see what's going on. I served meals in southern Turkey after the earthquake with somebody from World Central Kitchen, who later went to Gaza and was killed by a strike. Wow. They're serving meals there. It's a horrible situation. Anybody who can watch what we just watched and say, no, Israel's doing enough, the U.S. is doing enough, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, she said 400 distribution sites is what they typically would have to feed a population of that size. We're talking about 4 now. And then at those sites, I can show you the headlines. I mean, dozens killed in separate incidents over the course of the last several weeks, just trying to get aid at those sites, creating incredibly dangerous conditions. It just seems, Abel, at this moment, it's not actually asking all that much for there to be more than what is happening right now, because what's happening right now is clearly not even close to being enough.
Abby, to look at the images, obviously it's painful, especially I'm a father. There's a lot of us here who are fathers, to see these kids.
But Hamas. I like that in order to have Peter Beinart and Kat on there, Kat, who is literally, isn't she on this panel too? She's not talking at all, which is crazy. She's literally Palestinian, chat. She's fucking straight up Palestinian. So you got Peter Beinart, who is an outspoken critic of Israel. And you got Kat, who's Palestinian, surrounded by 3 old douchebag white Christian dudes who are just like constantly going, but Hamas, but Hamas, but Hamas. What the fuck is happening? They cut her out of the YouTube video. It was aired though. She didn't get to say much.
over the course of the last several weeks, just trying to, it just seems, Abel, at this moment, it's not actually asking all that much for there to be more than what is happening right now. Because what's happening right now is clearly not even close to being enough.
Abby, to look at the images, obviously it's painful, especially I'm a father. There's a lot of us here who are fathers, to see these kids. But then Hamas is just, you know, they portray
He literally did it, by the way. I was joking when I paused it. He just straight up did that. He said, I'm a father, but Hamas. I'm a father, but Hamas. So we got to kill some of these kids, man. Sorry. They just happen to be also Palestinian, just like Hamas is Palestinian. Sorry. It is what it is. Some genocide has to keep going, you know, just a chroma genocide.
as a political party. They're a syndicate. They're a gang. They are a terrorist organization. I've been to Sderot. I've been to Ashdod, little cities right next to Gaza. I mean, these kids wake up in the morning, there's a kazan coming over their head. They're going into these culverts that they paint them as snails so these kids can play in culverts to protect themselves. This is bad. President Donald J. Trump wants a couple of things. Scott mentioned it. He wants a ceasefire.
Bro, I can't watch this shit, man. They're such fucking animals. They're such demons, bro. They are such fucking animals. They're so disgusting. It's I don't know. It's just I can't do this. Here's what Kat said.
Every day in those little towns.
Gaza was under Israeli occupation. It has been under Israeli occupation since 1967. You know, most of the people in Gaza are not from Gaza. They're from families of refugees that were expelled from Israel in 1948. That's where they're there in the first place.
Let me let Kat have a word in. Go ahead.
I am from one of those families. My father's parents were Nakba survivors. I do not want Israeli children to live in fear, and I don't want Gazan children to starve to death. And there is no enemy of either state that could want me to wish that or excuse the starvation of children. It is that simple. Food is being blocked. It is being blocked. This is a man-made humanitarian disaster. It could stop at any point. We could be putting pressure on this.
Yeah, they launch missiles from hospitals. They launch missiles from preschools.
Okay,
There is
This is who
nothing.
Hamas is.
There is nothing.
Hold on a
no
second.
agency that
let me
could
just
excuse
ask you
this.
to let me ask you to
New York would
In
do.
food.
They get kazams every day.
You know what I think is also crazy? I have a suspicion that Scott Jennings is going to go and run for office. And CNN is basically just creating the perfect environment for him to like win a Republican seat somewhere by offering him incredible amounts of unlimited influence and prominence and a fucking paycheck. Tommy Vitor's to the left of AOC on the Iron Dome. Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. Criticisms of politicians, of course, always okay and important. That said, AOC is about the best we have on these issues, and yet she gets a disproportionate amount of shit from people in ways that are stupid and self-defeating, in my opinion. So many other New York polls, you could easily move on policy. There's a broader conversation we need to have about blowing up this false distinction between offensive and defensive weapon systems and how missile defense enables offensive militarism, but that will take a lot of work. The problem is that tweeting welcome to the tent does nothing either. It's not too late for the kids who are being starved to death. If anyone can help them, it's now suddenly repentant liberals. On the other hand, accountability for such opportunists is a live possibility. I just couldn't disagree more. The coalition to end this nightmare has to be big enough to include anti-interventionists, right, and liberal Zionists who decided today it has to end. No one wants them to be a part of a movement where self-righteous people scolds them upon entry. I mean, my attitude on this stuff is it's good to exercise caution while also saying I've said this a million times over. Just as I don't fucking fault people and I don't spend a lot of time yelling at them on October 10, 2023 for realizing the severity of this crisis, or even a month after October 7, 2 months after October 7, despite the fact that I was an advocate for Palestinian emancipation for the past 12 years of my professional media career, I even now don't spend too much time on people who say, look, this is horrifying. It's a bridge too far. I'm out. Fuck Israel. As long as they don't spend any time going back to their old ways of just like consistently railing against people who've been there. You know? That's it. I have been an advocate since 2009 and I do judge them. I don't because I understand that coalition building and creating an environment of unimaginable pressure is the only option we have out of this. And I do that for the sake of all of the people who have already been martyred thus far. And I do that for the sake of all the people who we can save. That's the way I see it. Because it's such an unimaginable crisis that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when people become advocates. This isn't to say welcome them in open arms and start assuming that they are you know, what is this? Tommy Vitor tweeting, I told you so at people who change their mind about what's happening in Gaza does not help the kids who are being starved to death. Welcome to people into the tent, build a bigger coalition and use it to force political change. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do kind of agree with Tommy Vitor on this. Like, I think people that do that are not doing it for any other reason other than like morally posturing. I think it's incredibly important to remember what it took for these people to change their minds, because that shows you how fucking out of whack their moral compass is. So you should be careful. Okay? You should be careful with those people. But having said that, it doesn't fucking matter. Because as long as they spend no time doing like the ContraPoints bullshit, and after demonstrating that change, do they go, hey, I'm going to take a lot of shit here from a lot of people, but it doesn't matter because I think I want to be on the right side of this and I really fucked up, then it's good. Because it's a necessity for everyone to be on board. You know what I mean? You need everyone to be on board. You need to be unavoidable. You need to be undeniable. And in order to get to that position, you need people who are still holding on. You know? This doesn't mean that I'm going to turn around and be like, wow, these guys are great. They're my favorite people. No, not at all. They saw all of the atrocities that you saw. Okay? And they chose to defend it. But what it will take to put an end to it, to put an end to further bloodshed, is going to be people like that also coming on board, and also offering unconditional support to the Palestinian emancipation. That's it. That's my primary focus here. If you turn around and you were awfully quiet, or maybe even defended Israel in the beginning, but then shut the fuck up, and then you turn around and you say, you know what, I fucked up. This was bad. I'm pro-Palestine. Fuck Israel. Okay? If you say that and you don't spend any time shitting on the left or the pro-Palestinian position or talking about Hamas or whatever the fuck, then you're good. You're good by me. I will welcome you. I'll be cautious, but we need those numbers. We can't afford to fucking shed those numbers. That's it. Yeah. This person is one of the greatest examples of what I'm talking about. Shael Ben Ephraim, fuck my Israeli citizenship, fuck Israel, fuck Zionism. He went from straight up being a liberal Zionist who defended Israel until a couple months ago to like being an anti-Zionist. Okay? Now, is there still a lot of is there still a decent amount of how do I describe it? Like, do I still have a healthy dose of skepticism? A little bit, for sure. But I understand how fucking powerful social conditioning might be, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for me because he's not doing the fucking the classic tropes of he's not doing the classic tropes of like, well, what about Hamas? What about Hamas? What about Hamas? So as long as someone doesn't do that, then yeah, it's fine. Do you see other content creators differently for not saying nothing? It's hard not to judge their silence. I don't care about content creators anymore. Why do you think I always talk about wanting to fucking move to New York? Anyway, Felix says, let's pretend they did not know. It's a fucking ludicrous thing to pretend. If a member of Congress was totally and entirely unaware of GHF, the starvation, the mass killing, they are too fucking stupid to live outside of a group home setting. What kind of coalition is this? Is this what you want? A coalition led by people who were somehow duped despite having access to much more information than the general public, or the other, more likely option, a coalition led by the perpetrators? Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about politicians, then I don't care about their previous positions as long as they're like actively working to put an end to it. But I have a agnostic framework when dealing with the morality of politicians. Does that make sense? Where I just don't care. They're a vehicle for me. They're a vessel, you know? I don't need to love them. I don't give a shit about them at all. And this even extends to the likes of Zohran Mamdani. I only care about the movement. I only care about what they can do for me and for you and for everybody else. That's their job. They are public servants. I'm not a fucking stan. Just put the policy in the bag, little bro. Just keep it pushing. They work for us. That's it. In the short term, yes. Obviously, fucking yes. You need a political movement now to end the war, then vote the shitheads out at next election. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't even necessarily fully disagree with Tommy Vitor on this. Like, yeah, that's just what it's going to take. And I don't give a shit. We'll yell at them after, you know? If they vote in the appropriate direction going forward, then that's fucking great. Now, of course, we're having this conversation on a pure hypothetical that doesn't even exist at this moment. Like, who the fuck is changing their attitude and then voting alongside those lines, you know? Is there someone who's doing that? Why are people on this website obsessively attacking AOC when both New York senators actively defending everything Israel does? If anything, AOC and Pat Ryan should be lining up to unseat them. I think the easy answer is it's about hope and expectations. People are hungry for a totally unapologetic champion. AOC is one of the 10 best House members when it comes to calling out and opposing the genocide, but people want her to be the best. No equivocation at all, and that's not unreasonable. Yep, Ryan is right. It's the same reason as to why Bernie Sanders' liberal Zionism is insane, okay? Highest ranking, most popular Jewish politician in the United States of America who comes from this background, who comes from a socialist background. It's ridiculous. My expectations of Bernie Sanders are infinitely higher than fucking Chuck Schumer. Okay? What are we talking about? He knows better. He knows better, and he has a fuckload more influence too to be able to say, like, look, man, I'm Jewish. What is this? What's aggravating is that capitulating to Israel weapons funding doesn't help her at all. Israel doesn't accept anything less than full support. If she tries to run for anything, she'll be attacked by them full strength. Giving anything to them only hurts her with her own base. Exactly. No, absolutely. Better late than never. I had a former member of the pro-Israel club I used to be the president of who blocked me after I started being pro-Palestine reach out and tell me that she changed her mind and that Israel's committing a genocide. Did I shit on her for not waking up earlier? Of course not. Be charitable. I don't care how late you realize, as long as you eventually realize, charitability is the name of the game. Yeah. Also, people respond to what they're seeing right now. I promise you, those people who are just now waking up, no matter how late it is, a year from now or 2 years from now are probably going to be by your side. Now, that's different, though. That's a human being and not a politician, okay? So obviously, we're not talking about politicians here. Different expectations, different standards. And even all politicians are not the same either. What they can do for you is quite similar, of course. But my expectation from Bernie Sanders is, of course, going to be a lot higher than even AOC, as a matter of fact, partially because of Bernie's prominence and partially because of his history. Yeah, I told you so stuff is never useful, but I think this exaggerates the extent to which the tent is really growing. Most of these statements from Dems are a combination of vague hand-wringing and calling for a ceasefire in the same manner Biden did, which is Hamas must surrender. Anyone who isn't at a minimum explicitly calling for a full arms embargo against Israel, not bullshit about offensive defensive carve-outs, is not really joining any tent in a meaningful sense, just engaging in PR ass covering. Looking very upset is not a political position. Yeah. No, absolutely. What's the point of gathering more support in the future, as you're saying, when all those people of Gaza will be ethnically cleansed by that time? Because you don't have a timeline. You don't have that timeline. So you have to act as though every single person you can bring on board tomorrow, yesterday, a week from now is still valuable. It's for those people who you are trying to help survive that you do this. That's it. That's my attitude. Because what you're describing is defeatist. I mean, I just interviewed, like, I'm doing it for people like Abdurrahman and Yusuf, okay? I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for the people who are still very much alive and very much hope to continue living and live freely as they deserve. Okay? So I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about telling people I told you so or whatever. That's the reason. Mosa Abu Toha says Israel's going to resume airdrops of aid, which, by the way, airdrops are an inconsistent and unreliable solution to this problem that Israel itself has created. Israel's going to continue resuming airdrops of aid. They're enabling safe movement of UN convoys delivering food and medicine. They will reconnect a power line to a Gaza desalination plant, boosting daily water output to 20,000 cubic meters. What happened all of a sudden? I will tell you. Some countries applied some pressure to Israel, which means these same countries can stop the genocide. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah. I mean, fuck the politicians that took this long. Must baby mama.
Son? No.
No. His Grimes is Elon
I know
Musk's the mother of Elon Musk's children, like his girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. No.
Yeah, so
I mean,
his
I've heard
ex,
of it, but I
his
don't
ex,
know.
they were for a permanent solution, a permanent cessation of hostilities. They just want to do ethnic cleansing. It's not like they're hiding it. They're openly saying it too. It's not like Israel's like sheltering the public from their perspective. They're saying it. What's the statement? Like the first casualty in war is the truth. It just feels so crazy that every single day that I've covered this, like there are still people who come in here and they go, I'm confused. Like, why won't Hamas release the hostages or something? It's like they are trying, man. They've been trying since fucking October 10th. Your talking points take too long. News will never let all that info be explained. You think news media will not let me explain my position because of the length of my talking points? There are people who are infinitely faster and way more clever than me. They don't get to speak about these positions on mainstream media as well. Plus, we don't really need to be on mainstream media at this point. The audience that I've been able to cultivate is large enough on its own. So worry not. The reason why mainstream media does not have positions like mine readily available is not because of the length. It's not because of how lengthy it is. It's because of what I'm saying. It's because I offer unconditional support. The chatter is correct in the sense that a TikTok 30-second point you have ready to go will reach 70 million new viewers tomorrow if you have that prepped. What? Oh my God. Okay. Hassan reminds me of a little bitch that always wants to be right. Let's unban this guy real quick. Here's the problem with that. You're offering. I'm going to unban him. I want to hear what he has to say. You're recognizing that